This week, we dig deep into potential inequities in the peer advisor program on campus. This is a UTD TV News special report. I'm Jessica Higgins.
The purpose of the PA program is to really provide on-site support for our residents. Lots of times, whether they're a first-time freshman or a first-time grad student or they're a third-year junior or whatever, there's always a need from a student who's living on campus to see and interact with the university, and the PA does that.
The Peer Advisor program plays an important role on campus, providing residents of the apartments and residence halls support from their fellow students as PAs or peer advisors. This year, some changes to the compensation PAs receive left a bad taste in the mouths of some returning advisors with academic excellence scholarships. Wishing to remain anonymous, one senior apartment PA was quoted to say, "In about February or so, we, the peer advisors, were notified that basically the apartment PAs and how they're paid were going to be changed to be more streamlined with the residence halls. Unfortunately, though, the peer advisor bosses informed us of this change after we were unable to apply for housing through University Village and still have priority. It was too late to be able to quit the peer advisor job and apply for housing to be able to take advantage of our scholarships." Essentially, the amount of compensation remained the same from last academic year, about $950, but the method of payment was altered. Because the approximate $750 in rent is now comped and not given directly to the PA, peer advisors with housing scholarships no longer are able to retain the money they would save on rent each month, essentially losing the opportunity to use their housing scholarship and about $250 of cash every month. Peer advisors said that they were told about the change in February. Director of Residential Life, Ryan White, said the PAs were notified early on in the application process, as early as November of last year.
Well, for those folks, when we went through the recruitment process, we said, here's how this will affect your AES scholarship. And then at that point, they made the choice to either continue their candidacy for a PA position or not. But we were very upfront with what would happen if you did receive a stipend that could only be used for on-campus housing.
PAs say they did not receive notification up front and that they tried to voice their opinions to management, offering a solution that might have bridged the gap to future years, as the AES housing stipend is being phased out for future classes. Some of the PAs did try to talk to higher-ups in residential life, basically went up the ladder trying to make our opinions be known, but nothing came of their discussions. I would have suggested to wait a year before implementing the change in pay for the peer advisors, because, after this school year, none of the peer advisors would have had a housing stipend, so it would not have been an issue. Ryan White stated that he was unaware of this suggestion, and that putting off these changes for a year didn't make sense, as the funding source for the PA program changed this year from student fees to being funded off of housing revenue.
That's news to me. We knew that things were changing in the AES front where they could get the money, and that's happened last 2 years. But when we made the funding source change, we made the compensation change, and it just made sense at the time, I think. And I don't know if the numbers on with me right now, but the number of PAs impacted were very few, if any.
But, unfortunately, the PAs that I interviewed insisted that the impact to their budgets was severe. One peer advisor said, "I was autonomous from my parents, but taking away the $220 each month forced me to ask for parental assistance once again, because I couldn't be completely autonomous and debt-free." Another PA said, "They don't really approve of you getting another job, because they claim that PA is a time commitment in and of itself that prevents you from doing something else that would give you financial stability." And another statement included, "You don't want PAs to be frustrated. I mean, PAs are supposed to be the supporting person in our residents' lives, and if the peer advisor is frustrated about something, that would probably affect the quality of their work or the consistency of their work." Another concern that the PAs have is the difference in compensation between the res hall peer advisors and those working in the apartments. In the apartments, it's slightly frustrating that we got a pay cut because the res hall peer advisors technically get paid more because they get their rent compensated. They get a meal plan and they get the $150 to $200 a month, depending on their seniority. But the apartment peer advisors get just the rent compensated and then the $150 to $200. So we're not getting the meal plan or the food compensated. Mr. White stated that everyone in the residence halls is required to have a meal plan, and that many students go with their PA to the dining hall, making that an important component of their compensation.
In the residence halls, a lot of our residents are freshmen. So again the different need to really actively more engage those students into the campus community, and so because of that, we provide the PAs with a meal plan. Their suites here in the residence halls don't have kitchens like the PAs in the apartments.
Mr. White also stated that the job responsibilities were similar across the board from apartments to residence hall peer advisors.
If you look at the responsibility of a PA, it's for to build community, to provide leadership and mentorship for residents, and to be a resource. And I think that's the same across the board, whether it's in the res hall or in the apartments. While the buildings may change, I think the job stays the same.
In the end, Residential Life said that equity is really the goal in mind.
We were, for a long time, our apartment PAs were funded through student fees. And that changed this last year to we're all funded by housing revenue now. So we've come off the fees. So that freed us up to do a little bit more with different things with our compensation. But it's really just to be equitable. When we talk about the difference between the meal plans and not having the meal plans, well, the res hall PAs get their suite compensated, they get the stipend, and now the apartment PAs do too.
Some other major changes are expected in the future, as the peer advisor program will expand across the campus to the former Waterview Park apartments, newly purchased by University Village.
Right now we're evaluating our expansion into phases 1 through 4, which the university purchased back in July. We're not sure what that's going to look like right now, but we know that we want a presence. We've heard from students that they want PA's involvement in on-campus housing out there, so we want to be able to provide that to them.
That's all the time we have. For more from UTD TV News, be sure to check out our website and Facebook page. Thank you for tuning in. This is Jessica Higgins, signing off.